Okay, so welcome everyone to our first meetup of the year. We've got not too lengthy agenda today, just three topics. The first is on our upcoming release, which will be NB 197, and that release is currently scheduled for April 12th. It's going to contain a bunch of new components, and in particular, we're also looking to start rolling out a new user interface for App Inventor. And so I'm going to invite Susan to share her screen, show us what that looks like. Take it away, Susan.
Hello. So yes, we've been working on a user interface refactor for quite some time, and we are hopefully what we have built will allow it to be much easier to create new looks and feels in the future. But here is a little bit of a look at what we're hoping to release in April. So we have here a new a new color scheme, new look and feel, new icons. One particular point of importance is that the menus have been reorganized. This is our menus in the have kind of accreted over time, and several items have appeared in several places. Hopefully, this will be a new look that's a little bit more organized and hopefully a little bit more discoverable. The new interface is you can select or you can opt out of it. You can see under user interface settings, you can return to classic to get a look at the old system. Of course, here I have triggered bug. But we're hoping that that maybe this will appear on AI2 test around April 1st, early April, with the plan at this point for it to go into production in mid-April. Any questions, thoughts? There's plenty more to browse through, but we should be able to, but it should be available still for probably a little bit of feedback at the beginning of April.
Okay, so not hearing any questions on that, but it's really exciting. I mean, we've been working very hard on this. Susan in particular has been working extremely hard to get this up and running, and we've been doing a lot of testing internally with the team. So we're looking forward to, getting further feedback on that and letting people try it out. The next thing that I was going to talk about briefly is the iOS build functionality. We know that a number of folks have been looking forward to this. And so that is continuing to make progress on that. Fixed a bunch of bugs in the screen switching logic. So compiled apps for iOS will be a lot more stable on that front. That update is going out onto the test server tomorrow to let people try it out and give us further feedback. There's still a number of known issues that we're trying to address, but we are making progress there. I guess another aside just on iOS, which I hadn't originally planned to speak about, but we are looking as part of our effort this year to try to make all of our curriculum work on iOS. We are in the process of getting Bluetooth Low Energy and microbit support baked into the iOS companion, which will allow for all of our data science curricula to be used on iOS. And then for those of you who are interested in Google Summer of Code, we're looking to have folks take our AI extensions and implement the logic for those on iOS as well, which I will use as a segue to let Susan talk about Google Summer of Code.
Yes. So we have been accepted for Google Summer of Code for 2024. We're happy, we're excited to start another year here with this program. It's been really exciting in the last few years, and it has been incredibly beneficial to App Inventor. If you take a look at our community, we should have some instructions up about the process for applying. And sorry about that. I was going to pull that up, but apparently I'm having a bit of trouble finding it. Yeah, just pull up the wiki page. I I need to discuss with you exactly how one pins a post and gets it to stay pinned, because every time I set this thing up, I discover my pinned post has been unpinned. So anyway, there will be a pinned post again in our community, and here is our instructions and our proposed project list for this year. We have a lot of projects proposed this year, so there's a little bit for all kinds of interests. Summer of Code has a fresh emphasis on artificial intelligence, which should surprise nobody. We do have some work with generative AI features that we're adding and refining in App Inventor. So we have projects related to that, as well as our ongoing quest to add iOS functionality and some follow-ups to the refactor for the user interface. We have the application window has just opened. I think there's about 3 weeks. I will I just go ahead and link to Google as opposed to second guessing them, but the deadlines are set by them, and we're just here, I believe, on day 2 of the application window. So there's time, but not too much time.
Yes, and it's important to note that in addition to doing the Google proposal, we have an additional form that we use to kind of gauge your interest and familiarity with App Inventor, which we use as part of the selection process as well. So it's important that you complete both forms. Otherwise, you won't be considered. And for our form, you only have to complete it once. So even if you put in multiple proposals for Google Summer of Code, you don't have to complete the form on our end multiple times. You only have to complete it once because we're doing one per person. We assume you'll be the same person regardless of which proposal we pick for you. So that's important to note. I've been seeing a lot of interest in particular around the Blockly related projects. And I think we only have 2 of them. So if you're in particular interested in working with App Inventor for the summer, I would strongly recommend that you put in a second proposal. If your first proposal is around the blocks editor, on one of the other topics as well, to increase your chances of being selected.
One thing we're not thrilled about is that we don't have any way to prioritize our selections. So if we choose somebody who ends up going with another org, we can't follow that up. So anybody who can put in 2 projects probably is you really are increasing your chances if you have 2 quality proposals.
All right, and I've seen some of you posting in the community and working on pull requests as well, so that's fantastic. Does anyone have any questions about the GSOC process? You can either ask them in the chat or feel free to unmute to ask.
One thing we do run into is people being concerned about others sort of stealing their ideas if they ask questions on the forum. We encourage you to ask questions on the forum, and we are reading it. So we are tracking whose ideas are are being posted on the forum, and we will note that when we read proposals. So you are at least moderately protected from anybody stealing ideas.
Yeah, so I mean, it is important to note that it's, open source. So therefore the discussion really should be open as well, and we encourage that. And then, of course, if you are making contributions via GitHub prior to the proposal window closing, of course, that also is another strong indicator of the quality of your application. And so we do keep an eye on who's been submitting pull requests and is responsive to feedback from the team here. Any other closing comments, Susan, as our Tsarina for?
Uh, we're tracking things on the forum. I'm on the forum every day. Feel free to ask questions or clarifications about any of these project ideas. You're not on your own here, and in fact, the more you talk to us, the better your chances are. So that's just a way to finalize.
Alrighty then. So hearing no further questions, we will close out this meeting early. As we mentioned, please continue to engage on the community site. We're happy to answer questions there as well. And that's really the ideal place to kind of demonstrate your engagement with App Inventor. And of course, please make sure as you're putting in pull requests to, make note of the things you're fixing and all of that. We're really excited to get engagement with new people as part of this year's Google Summer of Code. With that, we'll sign off. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Q2. Have a good one.
Who was all there?
Who was it?